Welcome back, everybody, to the second episode of the podcast Cosmic. I'm Vlad here with
Artie,
George,
and Keith.
We're back. People said we wouldn't come back, but we're back, and we are here to talk all things geek. We got a few big topics to talk about this week, so we're going to basically break them down into four things. So we have the Moon Knight trailer, which we're going to talk about, which dropped earlier this week. We're going to talk about what's the other one we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett, episode 4. We will talk about Peacemaker, which is something that we didn't talk about last week. So we have 4 episodes to catch up on that. And lastly, we have some very small news coming out of the video gaming world, where a tiny company known as Microsoft ended up buying an even smaller company known as Activision Blizzard, and we have no idea what that potentially will do to the market. So,
what companies?
Exactly.
Who bought what?
Exactly. So with that, we're gonna start off talking We're going to talk about Moon Knight. So I'm going to give it over to Artie so he can give us his first impressions of the trailer.
Yeah, so the trailer that dropped this week was really great and exciting news. I don't think it revealed too much. I think we got a lot of teasers in there about what the show could potentially be about. We got different images of Moon Knight. We know it's going to be a psychological thriller. I think the show is charting, new territory. I think we discussed this a little bit elsewhere, talking about how the show is not really tied to any other Marvel franchise, right? And so you look at it, it's really not tied to anything the Avengers. It's the first MCEU Disney Plus show that really is not tethered to the Avengers, really, right? All the other shows had either an Avengers character or a main theme tied to Avengers, really talking Hawkeye and Loki, right? Loki's the villain from the Avengers, and looks like Kang is going to be an ongoing villain in the movie franchises across a couple of movies at least. And we don't know, Moon Knight's not interacting with anybody that we know about. So I'm really interested to see how fans take to it and what Marvel plans to do with it, what Disney plans to do with it. Grow the Marvel universe a little bit, maybe. The themes seem to be psychological, multiple personalities, horror. Is there some horror in there? Darker themes, I think, than we've seen in some of the Disney Plus shows, right? He seems to be a little more violent.
Yeah.
I think the psychological themes alone, the mental illness pieces of it could be interesting. And I think we're dealing with a new type of character, a character who himself, in the history of Marvel, since he appeared in the 70s, has been very schizophrenic. And you've had long lulls where he's either appeared, not appeared, reappeared, had a relaunch, looking completely different, being a completely different character than he previously appeared. Sometimes he's tethered to mythic powers, right? The Egyptians, god and goddesses. Sometimes he's just, a crazy psychopath in a superhero costume with lots of money who beats up criminals. So, and in his first appearances, really a mercenary for hire who would even attack, whoever you paid him for. So it's really interesting to see where it goes. I'm excited. It's got a great cast. I think some of you have mentioned that before when we've talked. I'm really interested to get it going. It's March 3rd?
March 30th, if I believe.
March 30th?
Yeah, it's a little later in the month.
Holy smokes, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can hold out. That's
You're
crazy.
gonna have to, right? So just read some old comics, and that's the case. George, what was your take on it?
So I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it was a very unsettling teaser, which I think suits the series and what they're trying to go for. It's introducing a different aspect of his personality to start off with, and they do give you a hint of the Mark Spector character, through the phone call. I think the way Guardians of the Galaxy has kind of introduced us to cosmic Marvel, I think this is going to introduce us to the horror Marvel. So it's, and I think we were discussing earlier, like how you could bring, like Blade would be a good way, it would be a good introduction. Probably won't happen, but, considering where it's based, like Dane Whitman, because I think they're taking Black Knight into like a horror route, which is why they have him tied with Blade from the end of Eternals. So,
Sure,
and again, it's a great cast.
George,
Hmm?
let me ask you a question.
Absolutely,
You brought
yeah.
it up. When you say horror Marvel, I know we talked about this in the past. You talking the 70s era horror, or do you think maybe coming into the 90s when they were reintroducing the Ghost Rider? And
I think it'd probably be a little bit of both, because, you know, they had the Nightwalkers, I think was the name of that one group, with Blade and a bunch of other characters. And again, you know, and then to touch on that, you know, not that it has anything to do with the show, but, you know, you also have Sam Raimi, who's been known to direct horror, doing Doctor Strange, and that's supposed to be having some horror elements as well. So, you know, you never know what they're doing. You know, Marvel kind of introduces different parts of the universe when they do like new characters. So I think this is one way of doing that.
Well, I am looking forward to it as well. I think, like you said, it's going to be like an introduction into the horror universe of it. I still think it would be a great like introduction into like a Defenders type of situation.
Sure.
I think they're bringing in a lot of characters that would fall into. I think that'd be an awesome way to kind of get that coming together after like a few years of all these pieces coming in. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to seeing too, is how it will fit into the Marvel universe as a whole. And like George said, they have a good cast. I'm looking forward to seeing who they introduce, like their usual secret character that pops in. And then at the end to see like where the teasers will, take us to the next part. So I'm looking forward to it.
Excited now, Keith. When you say the Defenders, then I'm thinking of like the bare-chested, fire out of the pentagram, you know, son of Satan.
I mean, why not? They can.
But
they have a
you're
whole
right.
story.
It opened. Look. I know this is kind of like fan theory, fan fiction, you know, territory. But think about the characters you could really put in this: Gargoyle, you know, Hellcat, even Nighthawk, for Christ's sakes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wasn't there a Hulu series, The Son of Satan?
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Right. And wasn't Hellcat introduced in Jessica Jones, or am I mistaken?
But
I don't know.
was- No, Hellcat was introduced in Jessica Jones.
You are right.
So, you know, and if they're trying to tie in the Netflix universe into the MCU,
Right. I'm wondering if they're trying to do sort of it's a dual sort of thing where they're trying to bring in the horror elements and then also kind of the street elements.
yeah.
Like to Keith's point about the Defenders, obviously, you know, I think you're trying to build a street level group of individuals now, right? But at the same time, you're trying to introduce that supernatural element because the rumors are out that there is going to be a Werewolf at Night one shot somewhere down the road.
And that's perfect for Moon Knight because that's
Right?
Moon Knight's first
That's
appearance.
something. So you have Blade, you have the Black Knight coming, which lends me to believe that I wouldn't be surprised if Ghost Rider doesn't show up somewhere around. They're going to redo Ghost Rider somewhere wrong.
Well, who's going to take him out? If Ghost Rider's riding around, you need to get the
I actually really enjoyed the trailer because I looked at it more as a horror type of thing. It really was. It had
The elevator scene was great.
The elevator scene was great. I've lost a contact. I love that, and I also like that they're not focusing on Mark Spector. They're focusing on, I always get his other alternate ego, who's not even the exact. They're taking pieces of the lore and changing it around a little bit, and it looks like, at least for now, it's taking place in London, which leads me to believe that if there is a cameo, it'll be Jon Snow. I mean, Dane Whitman, Black Knight. Because they both work.
White Walkers, why not? You saw
they both work in museums, right?
Right.
And something tells me he'll end up in New York by the end of this. There's no way. I don't know if it's been assumed that he's completely always going to be in London, but we'll see, because I think there's flashbacks to how he became Moon Knight and stuff of that sort. I think it's. To your point, Artie, I agree with you. It's a departure in the sense of it doesn't have anything tied back into any of the Avengers in any way. So where is this going to go? And is it tied into?
It's an odd character, right? Like, I mean, it's not an odd character. I just think about Eternals, Shang-Chi, right? Who knows about these characters, right? To me, he's totally unknown territory to MCU fans.
Right.
You know,
Correct.
I think so. It's going to be interesting to see what they play on. There's a couple of things I hope. I hope that the source material that they're using, and I say this because I'm a big fan of some of the creators that were very early on and then did different versions of him along the way, and probably some of his best books are compensated in some way through Marvel for it and not just in the credits. So, you know, like a Bill Sienkiewicz as an example.
Right.
And I hope that they're not afraid to tackle kind of the craziness that the character is. Like, he's nuts. He's freaking nuts. So he's not like Batman, right?
Right.
Everybody goes, he's just like Batman. He's fucking crazy.
I think it's just because of the fact that he's a billionaire and he wears a cape, and that, you know, but it's like you said, it's, you know, it's like Batman, but if you take the craziness and take it up notches.
It's actually no coincidence that, you know, the month begins with the Batman.
Oh, really?
March 4th.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, March 4th is Batman, is Matt Reeves' Batman, and then the month ends with Moon Knight. So
well, because by the time Batman ends, because I think Batman's like 27 days long or something like that. Right?
It's like, what is it, 2 hours and 56 minutes? Yeah, it's right.
Yeah, I'm just
longest Batman movie of all time.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. I don't know, like, I don't know anything what to think. Like, am I going to see, is he really a superhero? Is it all in his mind? You know, I'm curious to see how they're going to play on the themes throughout the different versions of him. And if we see in the trailers and some of the making of the early stuff in the Disney Plus, year, preview, we're going to see him as different versions of himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that really him being different versions of himself in different costumes?
Like you said,
sorry, George, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just like you were saying, he has such a complicated history over the years. They could pick and choose every part of it and the best parts of like every, aspect of that character throughout the years and kind of utilize it through this, the series.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. They were saying, like, I saw some thoughts on it, and they were saying, like, that those are the gods. Like, he's seeing them, and they're approaching him, right? And he's the avatar of Khonshu, and because he's going to be facing off against somebody who's an avatar of the evil god.
Yeah,
I'm just curious to see where it goes, and I'm willing to go for the ride. It just looks like it's going to be fun, and I have such faith in the Disney Plus shows. They can do no wrong. I mean, they would have to really shit the bed for me to really not enjoy something that they're doing. Every show they've done, thematically a little different sets of characters, unexpected.
More consistent. I think they're more consistent right now than the films that have come out last year. Yeah, to be honest with you, I mean, what I mean consistent is the quality is higher. You've gotten. And I think maybe that's me because I like it having time to invest in a movie. I mean, in a show. And if, depending on the show, if it's 6 hours of a show or 8 hours of a show, depending on the length of it, I think it's great. I think it's awesome like that. Well, you could argue that Eternals was a show.
Well, I wanted to ask you something regarding that. Him being a character who's largely unknown to you, Vlad, do you have any preconceived ideas or expectations from the show?
Other than
a reservation?
I don't have a reservation.
Yeah, really. That's
I think
the right word.
I don't. I mean, if you're coming into it like somebody who's not fully aware of the character, and it's like Marvel's answer to DC's Batman. It's not the case. I know that. I know, and I've read a number of issues. I'm not steeped in the lore of Moon Knight because I know he's been rebooted a number of times. And there's some very definitive stories that have come out, runs that have come out in the last 5 or 6 years as well. But I'm willing to give it a try because for a number of reasons. Obviously, I do believe that Disney Plus I think they're doing a great job with the shows for the most part. The pedigree of the actors that are on the show, both, I think Oscar Isaac and you can say whatever you want. I think Ethan Hawke is a great villain in this particular case. I know that it's been unfortunate that it was in the news this week that the French gentleman who died in a ski accident, was playing a primary character. Apparently, he's supposed to be Midnight Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what that potentially will affect other seasons, because I don't know if his arc was completed in this season or not. But I think it's sad because you're getting that. But I'm all on this because I think this is a kind of an interesting type of a character. I do like that it could potentially lead to other things and to other groups that, I see the dots right now.
Yeah.
I see the dots to Blade. I see the dots to Black Knight. I even see the dots to Daredevil, right? Because I'm thinking historically Moon Knight is somebody that's in New York City, street level. You got Matt Murdock. There you go. And, and Matt Murdock and him have interacted in the comics. So it'll be interesting. I think I'm excited for it. I really am. I think it's.
You forgot one other actress that's in this show.
Who else is in it?
Emily Van Camp.
Is Emily Van Camp in it? Has she been announced? That's interesting. I did not know that. So the Power Broker is going to be in Moon Knight.
Interesting.
That's actually interesting. We're going to switch gears now. We're going to go over to talk to our favorite. He's not a bounty hunter anymore. He's a benevolent crime boss. So let's talk about episode 4 and Rancor, future Rancor writer, right? So let's talk about our good old friend Boba Fett. Keith, what did you think of episode 4?
I like it. I think overall, I like it. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. I'd laugh though because that whole scene with Boba Fett and Fenn was it? Fennec, yeah. Where he's talking about, I'm tired of us getting, killed and this by these guys who aren't smart. And what does he do? He puts a ship right down into the Sarlacc pit. Boba, you got mixed messages there, man.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, again, a lot of fun. I like the flashbacks a lot. I'm enjoying seeing how they're building up and how he rescued Fennec, and now I'm sure we'll see the Mandalorian at some point or some aspect of it. So I'm excited for that. And like I said, I mean, again, I'm not like this is the best, but it's enjoyable, and I'm enjoying the ride. So,
George.
Okay, so 2 things. The first, I'm going to say one thing that's kind of maybe blasphemous. But every episode that's not directed by Robert Rodriguez has been the better episode.
Yeah, I'll go with that too.
I think in terms of the way action scenes are done, in terms of, I just think they're more enjoyable. That's been my feeling so far, because I think this one was done by, I forgot who the director was, so forgive me. And to touch on Keith's point, the one I enjoyed the episode a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. Is it Mandalorian level? No. Is it better than the Skywalker trilogy thing? Yes. It's fun. It's Star Wars. That's
trilogy, which Skywalker trilogy?
The Rise of Skywalker shit.
Okay. I just wanted to make
that was not even discussed.
Palpitations.
Boy, you guys cannot go. Anytime you mention Star Wars, you got to say how much you dislike that. I mean, you sound
anyway.
Broken record, the two of you.
It was bad. Anyway, to touch on Keith's point, that the one thing that bothered me about the episode was the fact that he didn't remember that his armor is not in the Sarlacc. I thought that was a weird thing because he flashed back to getting spit out, right? Did he not remember that he had the armor on? But other than that little quibble, it was weird.
What was your take on it?
I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think we're in the last episodes of them building to something. We already know where it's going, right? I think this episode was the origin story for how he met Fennec and how they decided to stay together and why. And also, as you went from the flashbacks and how he saved her and how he built trust with her and this and this and that. And they go on a mini adventure to get to Slave One. Are we calling it Slave One anymore?
Not according to Disney. It's just his ship and it's female.
That's right. No, they had a name for it. The Firefly. The what? I forgot.
Did they name the ship?
Fire Sprite or something?
Yeah.
Named it.
I don't
Yeah, it
think-
wasn't the name; it's the type of ship.
Okay.
Oh yeah, but I think they might play up to the fact that he doesn't want to be. He may change the name because he doesn't want to be considered a slave. So,
All right, but either way, Disney's shying away from
Somehow.
it. They didn't mention it once, a slave one during the thing, but
no, just said my shit.
they went and they got it. Then they went to retrieve his armor, so they showed all that. But what I mean by the last of the building towards whatever the real action part of the show is going to be about, establishing him as the crime lord of Tatooine, or Mos Espa, or Mos Eisley, or wherever, is, he had the meeting with the families of Mos Espa to talk about getting together to fight the Pike Syndicate. And I think it was a very interesting turn of events. They decided not to go with him. He put together a little gang that doesn't seem hardly enough to fight any crime syndicate anywhere, particularly with his now level of skill and ferocity.
Although he's fully healed now.
He's
So
fully healed.
no longer needs the
The
back.
only
to
one
pick.
I have any faith in that he's met so far is the Rancor and Fennec.
What
What about Black Panther then?
Nah, what was he going to do? Growl and yell at people? And
Why?
get by a bunch of teenagers
messed up
on
messed up
mopeds?
those Fandoshans, though.
Yeah, but what was interesting to me is that I think they're playing up towards the part that he has to go face this syndicate and possibly a double cross by these other people that said they're going to remain
Oh
neutral.
my God, that
He's
is
gonna-
telegraphed.
It's telegraphed, right, of course. So who is he going to get? And to me, that's the most interesting part. Now that we're getting in the last, 3 episodes?
3 episodes, right?
So he's got to get beat, right? That's what's got to happen, right? He's going to get beat. Then he's going to have to regroup. And in comes, I think, you got, we heard the music at the end, so we think it's going to be the Mandalorian. I think obviously he's going to have an appearance. But I think what we're going to get, us old school fans, is we're going to get the original 6 bounty hunters from Empire.
Dengar.
Yeah, listen, I don't care what anybody says. If I see Dengar, I will freak out. If I see Dengar, Bosk, IG-88,
Duckus and Forlorn.
Zuckus, I will freak out. I will. You don't know. That would make me so happy, because to me, it's not.
We have an
A
aneurysm.
lot of us talk about using what was in the original trilogy and it being bad. That to me wouldn't be bad. That's not throwing out or retconning anything. These guys are bounty hunters in the universe. They have history with Boba. Maybe Boba could pull in a few
but
favors.
he's a self-admittedly not a bounty hunter anymore.
Yeah, but he hire them to make it better, right? What did he say to Fennec?
Well, hired him to make him better. I think. So my take on it is a little bit different than yours. I don't dislike the show, but I do feel like it's been a little inconsistent in tone over the last, and it's definitely not The Mandalorian. By any stretch of the imagination, it's not The Mandalorian. My problem here is I think you have we've talked about this before. There's the expectation of who the character is. The character's not mysterious anymore. The character is, you know exactly who he is.
She's an embarrassment. Well, I hate to say it. Listen,
All right, yeah, okay, but here's the deal.
have to say it.
To Keith's point and everything, there are moments in this last episode
Yeah, that's what I mean.
that are freaking ridiculous. It's like Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, well, that part with the
like him putting the slave one down on top of Sarlacc, that's like, it should say super genius on the side of
yeah,
slave
but that
one.
wasn't nearly as bad as the other scene where he's chasing the rat catcher robot.
Chasing the thing. And I'm sorry, I know that you're giving it a moment for Fennec to shine, and Fennec shines throughout every scene she's in that.
He's the only competent person on the
She's
show.
competent. She's completely competent. You have Bumble Fett. You have Bumble Fett who can't use a ship. He's putting the thing in, it's like
He can't catch a little robot. That was like a scene out of like a Ratatouille.
right. And I'm sitting there watching it. And then again, let's go back to the logic of this. Not to this episode, I'm sorry, but let's go back to the previous episode. You have this entire fortress, and you have a 9-foot-tall Wookiee that just walks in through the whole thing right up into your
Right,
back pit.
So
What the hell?
What we have to say is, although all these things happen and it's silly and it's stupid, I'm still enjoying it.
I mean, but
I'm enjoying it, but
What
it's
I've
not,
done-
it's childish.
What I've done in my head,
isn't 70s Star Wars
no, not
silly and childish?
It's more
I mean,
like it's more. So you remember a kind of Jedi, and where we saw like the
Droids.
Ewoks, and we think
It's
they're
droids and Ewoks.
Yeah.
It's droids and Ewoks.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like it's a little bit. It's Star Wars adjacent. It's a New Hope adjacent. In a New Hope, you had nothing that silly.
Well, it's
Nothing.
almost like special edition. It's like special edition.
Even
It's
Luke
like,
getting blasted in the butt with the blast helmet on with the lightsaber is nothing like literally Boba Fett. So let's stop for a second.
Jar Jar stepping in poodoo.
Yeah, no, I have
no, it's not that bad. Let's
to go back to this.
Now that's hyperbole.
We touched on
That's
it
pretty
last
close.
episode.
Pretty close.
We have to touch on this. We touched on this last episode. What is Boba Fett in Star Wars lore? The baddest bounty hunter of all time.
So wait, I have an issue with that, and this has to do with an article I saw a couple of days ago, and I was like, I'm not even going to bother. Where the headline was, the series of the Book of Boba Fett is taking a cool character and ruining him, and he's not cool. If you look at the original trilogy, there's nothing cool about him.
We all agree
cool
with
armor,
that. We agree.
cool armor, cool voice. He doesn't do shit.
We'll talk.
Vader
No,
The figure, the prototype
we talked
figure
about that. He's
didn't come out.
he's
That
the
could
coolest-
did
he-
more damage to children than he did in the entire trilogy.
Well, they never released it with the rocket launch.
Because they
because
realized he was too
there's
dangerous.
So Galactica.
But there's lore that
Like
exists
Battlestar
about
Galactica
him.
for that.
There's lore that exists, a mystique that exists outside of that people have. And that's what they're trying to make him. I agree with you. He got knocked out. He got knocked out of the battle by a
It's
blind
like you
guy.
took, yeah,
He was only cool in the holiday special. After that, it was just
Well,
like,
what was it? Else was he cool? And the coolest thing he did was he nodded. He nodded to who was it? He nodded to 3PO and R2. No, to Lando and
Yeah.
Chewie when in Jabba's palace. He does nothing cool.
He just had the
missed
coolest
Luke.
helmet on the block.
What line did he
Yeah,
have
the
in
coolest
Empire?
helmet on the block.
What if he
he's worth
doesn't
a lot to
survive?
me
What
alive.
if he's a lot? Yeah. What if he doesn't survive?
Yeah.
He's worth a lot to me.
But what's Vader's response?
Goes the Empire.
Let me
will
not alter
compensate
it anymore.
No,
right?
that's the
Lando.
That's the Lando. But no, I look.
and in the special edition, when he hits on the one dancer, that's
And
really
he hits
cool.
on the one dancer, and then you threw them back into what was it,
But what I
special
wanna-
edition,
I wanna
and he
get
walks
to-
by.
He has a mystique and a cachet that was never seen. You're right, in the original trilogy, 100%. But he has it in the to this fandom that loves
Well,
him.
but there was never true canon for it.
No, 100%. I'm with you 100%. Look, the stuff in the comic book was more interesting, right? In the early Marvel comic book. So we get to the Book of Boba Fett, right? Coming off of Mandalorian, where he's taking out ships and people and right. And here, literally, Vlad, just take this as an example. He's the baddest bounty hunter. Fennec even says it, right? He's the baddest bounty hunter of all time. A rat catcher droid confounds him completely.
Found him
I mean,
completely.
there's
That was
no
like the
coming
moment
back
where-
from that.
And then you go from that to the scene where Slave One takes out all the bikers, right?
Which was
That was
hilarious.
a
Which is
great
great.
scene, actually.
Which is great. Which is
I really felt that scene was a powerful scene.
that was a powerful scene, but then
Really,
you
I
go
was
to
laughing
Wile E.
the entire
Coyote.
time.
Because here's the other thing: you go to Wile E. Coyote over the Sarlacc pit, right? So you have the fan service, which
Don't
is one of
press
the
my
coolest-
button, Vlad.
My problem with it is like, and I don't know. Again, I'm watching it going. Did the Slave One actually go into the Sarlacc pit? Because it's too big to go into the Sarlacc pit. Be careful. Be careful. What? You're going to crack the glass on the sand? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Yeah. Now it sounds like we don't like it, but my view of the
it
show is
boggles the
changed.
mind. Some of
Yeah.
the stuff boggles.
I
the
know
mind.
it does. I started looking at it from the angle that it's not even as MA-14 as The Mandalorian.
Well,
It's-
yeah,
it's-
okay.
It's
All right.
like
Well, no,
PG.
no, wait a second.
It's
Black
PG.
Chrysanthemum, whatever his name is,
He did rip a guy's arm off.
Rip a guy's arm off.
Well,
That
so
whole
did Ben
scene, I was like,
Kenobi
wait,
in
what?
Star Wars.
Right. But there was blood in that scene too, and if you remember that that shouldn't be canon anymore. But I think it's
George, yeah, right.
Look. Let's see where it goes. I'm excited to see who shows up. Artie, it'll be interesting to see if the other bounty hunters do show up. I don't know if they will or if they won't. I'm
I
trying
think
to understand what the end game is. Obviously the
So
Pikes.
the end game is for him to be who he's supposed to be. Who this
I'm
version
wondering.
of him.
I don't know if we talked about it last week, but I'm wondering if the Crimson Dawn's involved.
I think the Crimson Dawn is involved, and I think that you're going to get. I think
Darth
Amelia
Maul?
Clark. Amelia Clark. Darth
No,
Maul.
because I think they want to do a show with her.
And she's definitely in Secret Invasion on Disney Plus, so don't be surprised if she shows up in this. Maul's dead already. Maul's dead as of Rebels because he's died. He's died at this point. They may pull a seismic level cameo. There's rumors about that. We'll see. I don't want to give anything away, but there's stuff out there.
What's the rumor? What's the rumor?
Solo to come over and help them.
What's the rumor?
You want to know?
There's that Han Solo potentially is going to show up.
What?
A de-aged.
A de-aged Harrison Ford. That to me is like, okay.
I just hope
to what? I'm sorry that you took, I forgive you that you took me to Jabba Frozen. What?
I just don't see how that would work. That's too much of a
I
stretch.
understand the Mandalorian showing up because if you think about sort of the beats in the Mandalorian, because Fennec is with the Mandalorian. Remember, Boba Fett and Fennec show up to help him get on the ship, right? And Boba leaves. So there's got to be something that happens story-wise between the book of Boba Fett and what happens in the Mandalorian where they go off planet. Why do they go off planet again? So we haven't seen the impetus of that.
I'm going to say this now that you said it like that. And again, we're in fan territory here. That's just a theory. I would be very upset with that. And I mean, not upset. That's the wrong word.
You're talking about upset about Harrison Ford?
I don't want to see Harrison Ford.
I just don't think. I think they're
He doesn't
smarter.
serve a story beat. He doesn't. I mean,
It doesn't serve it.
Luke Skywalker
served.
Yeah. He did.
I mean,
I-
you would have been
I-
fine with Ahsoka. You would have been fine with with Ezra Bridger or something.
Right.
But Han does not.
Correct. You're right.
Leave it alone. We got the best thing we could get.
I just don't think. I don't think.
I don't want to see any of them though.
To do that.
George, what I'm trying to say is they gave me something in the Mandalorian penultimate episode that I could not have expected, that as a fan made me so happy and satisfied.
Yeah.
Don't touch anything else. Leave it alone, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
I don't need to see Han Solo come in with the Millennium Falcon and do freaking I don't know what.
Why would you help Boba Fett though? It just makes no sense story wise, unless this is a J.J. Abrams production, which it's not.
Just leave
Leia, leave Chewbacca, leave C-3PO, leave R2, and leave.
Look, I have no problem them starting to
alone.
expand and bring Kira in from Solo, bring.
Yeah, the expanded universe people, they can all take them, do whatever you want with those pieces of crap characters. I don't care. I don't care. Nobody cares.
Okay.
Leave the original
we got you. So
characters
do you
alone.
care? Do you actually really care or not? Because you're a little adamant about it. So I just want
No, because I'm adamant about it is because they're. Look, I don't want to be one of those fans that say, "Hey, look, we can't change things or take chances." We should do that, but we should do it where it's appropriate, not to do it just to shove a character in.
I believe like whatever Favreau and Filoni are doing in terms of sort of building out this universe.
I don't think Filoni's involved in this, by the way.
Oh, maybe he's not. It's Favreau. You're right. Favreau's more involved in this. It's Favreau and Rodriguez, right? You're absolutely right. So Favreau, if the idea is that they're kind of expanding this entire universe with all these characters, that's fine. Use those characters. Don't go back to that well. Let's leave
that's
that.
what I mean.
Let's leave that well alone.
And that's why I'm liking the show. You got Fennec. They're using some of the expanded universe characters and bringing them in. That's what you should be doing. And it's not messing with the legacy of the original trilogy. Let that sleep for a while. Let the fans enjoy what we got. Make something new territory, and make it bigger. Make the
Oh,
Star
you know,
Wars universe
there's a
bigger.
couple of things here. You have to realize that there is also marketing and making money for Star Wars. Star Wars is not Marvel. Star Wars, whether you like to admit it or not, has taken its own hits over the last few years, and the Mandalorian's the biggest thing that they have right now. So they know what they're doing,
Because
and
of that, you know,
yeah,
the
and they
trilogy.
have to sort of look to see what they're going to do there. You know, there's other IPs that they're doing within Star Wars. You know, the video games that they're doing and all of these things.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan is a big one. Again, we can go off on a huge tangent about Obi-Wan. It's hinging on one thing for me, and we'll talk about it. You just brought up a subject that we'll talk about next week. But yeah, Obi-Wan is a big one.
When's that show start?
It's this year. They just haven't said. You have Obi-Wan, you have Andor, and
What's going to happen? Darth Vader in the armor is going to come slipping into panel and slicing people up with his dual lightsabers.
we'll talk about it. Because
And the
now
Acolyte
we got to
is the one
switch
that's not
gears.
the-
We do have to switch gears over to Peacemaker, and I'll take the first. I'll take the first stab at it, which is basically, look, I'm enjoying Peacemaker for what it is. I'm not comparing it to anything on the MCU side. It is funny. It's stupid. It's irreverent. I like John Cena in the role. He's a bumbling idiot. It's funny. Look, I enjoyed the Suicide Squad. Again, my problem with anything, even as much as I enjoyed the Suicide Squad, I don't understand what the DCEU is right now. I don't know. I don't understand it and how it fits in. It's weird where all
They
these
don't even
things
know what
fit
they're
in.
doing with
They don't
it.
even know what they're doing, right? So I enjoy it for what it is. You know, I enjoy the meta humor when they'll reference Batmite or they'll reference Batman.
Matter lad, whatever.
Whoever, all these characters that I enjoy that. I do. I think part of why I'm enjoying it is because, and I think Artie, you're gonna speak to this, is that I kind of put it into its place that I enjoy it for what it is. I don't have high hopes that it's going to build out some bigger universe, you know, that sort of a thing. And it's stupid fun. It's Deadpoolish in many ways. I get it, and it's fun, and it's like, do you care about the characters? I mean, I care about the fact that what I do like is the writing that they're trying to establish character development with some of these characters. I do enjoy that aspect of it.
I don't understand it with the sheer reverence of the show. And then they play like on these, like the last episode, in the fourth episode, where they do like the kind of the flashback Peacemaker and he's crying on his floor. Right. It's fun that he's clutching his album collection. Like, to me, that's the best part. But I don't understand if I'm supposed to give a shit or not. I don't. All I want to see is Amber and Evan, or whatever their names are, get into an argument for 30 seconds on screen. That to me is the best part of the show.
What does that say about the show if that's the best part? Like these two minor characters?
It tells me that inside each episode, there's these little fun things that happen that to me, I can watch it and just enjoy those things and then step out and not give a damn. If they do another season, if they do another episode, I watched something that made me giggle and made me laugh, or made me go, oh, that was cool, like the stuff with Vigilante. Whenever Vigilante's on screen, to me, that's like the best part of the episode, besides Amber and Evan. You know? I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. That part.
I didn't enjoy the first three episodes. I sort of enjoyed the fourth episode. I just think it's Gunn, you know, going back to his trauma roots a little bit, where he's kind of flailing around with the irreverence. I just think it's slapdash. The tone is all over the place. It's kind of like a really bad 80s Hong Kong movie where it'll be funny, ultra violent, and then like some really sappy family drama shit. And sometimes it could be fun, but I think in this case, it's just not hitting for me. I don't like the way, I mean, like Vigilante is a little bit, I don't know. I just don't. I mean, the character's okay, but you know, to go from the Vigilante, you know, again, you have to disassociate the Vigilante in this from the comic book
and Peacemaker and everybody else except for Waller.
But the thing is, Peacemaker is even different from how he was in Suicide Squad. Like his character is not consistent episode to episode.
Yeah,
He's a
I- no,
killer.
no,
No, episode to episode, I
trying to
think
re-
it
they're
is.
trying to
But
they're
to the-
trying to
he
recuperate him.
he has to do, like the one thing he's good at is killing, right? He didn't
Not.
mind killing
No.
entire village of people in Suicide Squad.
Right.
No, in Suicide Squad, he was. That's the difference.
That's different,
obviously
right?
fucking aliens.
Is it
It
that
just-
he lost
it's
his
like it's-
mojo? Did he lose?
Hey,
I don't
Hero
know.
Master is tough.
I don't think so. I think what they're doing is his character is malleable enough that they're changing it to suit the story. You know how we talk about how characters are dumb for the sake of plot.
Mhm.
His character is all over the place for the sake of the plot.
But you don't think it plays to John Cena's strengths too?
John Cena,
yeah.
John Cena, but you see, the thing is, John Cena, it's going to sound weird. He's a good actor, but you could say, like you could look at The Rock, you could look at Bautista. These are guys that could juggle all sorts of, pathos or comedy. It's from, all
Physicality.
that wrestling background, right? So him being good in the role is fine, but his character is just wildly all over the map that you don't know what the fuck you're going to get.
Well, I think that's
And to me,
that's,
that kind of detracts from the show.
that's exactly it. It's part of the problem is the show itself. It's like, and the DC universe and everything else. I don't envy Gunn in what he has to do with this, but I think he's trying to do the best that he can with it, because what are they telling? Where is he going with it? What is this whole part of it? What is it? It's just a show in itself. So I think he's having fun with it, and I have fun with it. But yeah, to me, it's almost like I watch it. I'm like, okay,
Let me challenge
It's
that.
fast food.
Let me challenge.
It's fast food. It's basically something you're not invested in it that long term.
No, but I'll challenge that a little bit. I think Gunn is doing exactly.
McDonald's.
I think Gunn.
I'm not happy about it when I'm on the toilet, and my ass is burning.
You're right, George.
That's
No, George. Artie, yes, Gunn is doing a great job. Don't get me
No,
wrong.
he's doing what he wants to do. I don't think he's being told to do. He's doing the show that he wants to do, no matter what
But
he
again,
wants.
when you take that, and here's the thing: at the end of the day, again, not to compare to Marvel, but Marvel. Look, here's the thing: Marvel's successful because they basically have a formula that they follow. I mean, case in point, Edgar Wright leaving Ant-Man because he had a vision, right? He had a
Well,
vision.
that's a different thing though, because that's when Marvel had the story committee,
Right.
and they,
But still.
and once Feige, I'm probably saying his name incorrectly for like the 9 millionth time, but once he managed to get rid of that story committee, you saw what happened. Then all of a sudden, they became more directors' movies.
Okay.
For the most part, even Eternals.
But I still think that they have a plan. Here they didn't.
They have a plan.
But I don't think DC has a plan, because as great as because when Suicide Squad came out, everybody said, "Wow, this is probably one of the best DCEU movies." Okay, that's not saying a lot. It's James Gunn. It's the same guy who did.
But I think Gunn for the show has a plan for the show. Look,
But okay,
I don't
and
know.
that's it. Just take it for the show. But I'll be honest with you. I'm a little confused. I'm not invested in the butterfly situation at all.
I could give two
I'm a
craps.
little confused about. I'll be honest with you. Maybe it's me. I'm a little confused with what Waller is doing with her daughter, and what's counterintuitive to what the other group is. The group that he's with are doing. I'm a little confused about that.
See, my thing is, I don't care about any of that. All I care
don't care. I
about
just
is
want to see stupidity. I want to see
that's
stupidity.
it. I just want to
And-
see that fight between Judo Master and Peacemaker.
The fight where I
hear
think
the
one of the
theme music.
funniest scenes is when he's ripping on you remember the scene it's the second or third episode when Peacemaker starts pointing the finger at Economos and saying that whole big thing about him getting his dick sucked for the first time. Is that why he could actually give away the plot or give away betray them? I thought that whole bit, and then he does Economos's voice. That was ridiculous. I thought that was funny. To me, that was funny. I mean, but it's
that's like a small snippet, and then you deal with it 20 minutes of just what the fuck am I looking at? Stupid, to get to one little nugget of.
I hear you. I mean, it's not pedigree stuff. It's fine.
It's not, but it doesn't now again, I always say, it doesn't have to be pedigree stuff, but I just feel like it's so all over the map. It's like you're supposed to you're supposed to feel pathos for Peacemaker at the end, where he thinks when he remembers what happened to his brother and that he probably killed him.
Well, I'm
it's like you're supposed to laugh at him
moment.
in his agony on the floor, clutching his 1980s.
That's what I mean.
It's like chance you could get to play Faster Pussycat's House of Pain, and to me is great.
But it's just like, here's this tragic backstory, and then you're just like,
did you catch him doing a little axle dance? He's doing a little bit of an.
Who cares about his daddy issues?
Right. But that's the thing. It's just like they're trying to be like deadly serious, and it's just like it's not working. Yeah, I mean that ending.
I don't know if I would take it to be. I take it to be sort of more Deadpool-ish. I think I
think that the last 5 minutes was not. I think it was trying to get you to sympathize with.
But I think it's trying to do it overly dramatic. I don't think it's trying to do it. But
again, that goes back to the Hong Kong movies where there's just like, I don't know. And then he's gonna like jerk off into like the butterfly jar or something.
well,
that could happen. That could happen.
Well, him using the bong.
That could happen.
The bong and what's the last scene you see? The last scene you see, what's his name? His boss turns out to be a butterfly.
Yeah. So we'll see where that all goes. So
it's another. You know what it is? It's another Captain Marvel flip with the Skrulls again, where the butterflies are the good guys. That's what it is again. The butterflies are.
So if somebody would say, "Can I recommend it to you?" Right? This is what I would say. You got to be ready for a show that is absolutely nuts and crazy, and I can't say it's good, but I can say I'm having fun.
Right.
Laughing at the scenes I laugh at. Like, I swear to God, when that couple is being interrogated and she grabs, and you're right, it's only 30 seconds. It's 30 seconds of a 42-minute episode. And they start yelling across the walls, and she's like, oh, he's cute. Can I take this? To me, this shit is funny.
Okay, so let's talk about this. You have Peacemaker, you have Vigilante, you have Myrn, you have Economos, you have Abadayo, and you have what's her name?
I forgot. Waller's daughter, right?
Harcourt.
Abadayo. Who's the other with the blonde?
Harcourt. She's his handler. His handler, right? Yeah.
You have all these characters, and all you focus on is that couple.
But that's what I was saying. I can't say it's good.
Oh, and Robert Patrick, who's probably the only good actor who's been good in the series.
Well. In all fairness. And Artie's mentioned this to me, and I agree with him. Vigilante scene in the prison in this last episode where he goes off on the white supremacists at the table is fucking great. It's awesome.
To me, that's just like it seems like a standard issue,
and like easy. I know it's easy.
Racist scene,
and it's easy. I got it, but it was still good. A good dialogue.
It's a good dialogue. I mean, some of it is written well. Look, it's not perfect. It's not perfect by any.
It's not that it's I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of just like there.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm watching is so I could diss it on this podcast.
Now you sound like Vlad talking about the Eternals now.
Right.
The thing is, though, I'm more passionate in my hatred for this thing than he was.
I see that.
No, yeah,
he was more like he hated the Eternals more in Signal, and then he comes on this. He's like, it's not that I don't like it.
I hope Eagly shits on your car tomorrow.
Yeah, Eagly,
Eagly's the best character in that show.
Eagly is the best character on the show, and also aren't they telegraphing the fact that the karate dude is going to join the team? Because if you watch the dance number is basically showing you that's what I think. So we'll see.
Judo Master.
Is it Judo Master? Is that who he is?
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, with that, we're going to switch gears and we're going to move over to the big news in the video gaming industry this week, which was basically that Microsoft ended up buying Activision Blizzard, which is essentially Microsoft building its own private Death Star of gaming content.
Monopoly.
Gaming content, I know
only if they make those games only Xbox exclusive.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to do something.
They better. Exclusive. I want them to put Sony to bed. I hate Sony. I don't play other games, right? But
You don't play any games.
But I don't like Sony ever since PlayStation 2.
Why PlayStation 2?
PlayStation 3, when they had the Blu-ray and all this, and they forced you to buy it, or they made it $100 more. Like, whoa, it's exclusive. We got a Blu-ray in this motherfucker. You know, they can go to hell.
You know, Destiny was a Sony exclusive for a while.
It was a Sony exclusive.
Yeah, it was. I'm just glad. I prefer Xbox. I'm just happy. Maybe I'll play Call of Duty again.
What does that have anything to do with? You're still going to be able to play it now.
I don't know, I'm getting like Diamond comic vibe, like for video games. Like, I think it's going to be beneficial for gamers in the beginning. Like, I think we'll see a benefit for it, but I think down the road it could really get a little worrisome.
I think one of the issues that people have is the antitrust potential. Like, if you end up having two big companies out there and that have all the AAA titles, right? And I've seen this out like this is not. I've seen it from different websites and different videos, but I tend to agree that they can control the market. So if all of a sudden Sony puts out God of War, and then Microsoft puts out Call of Duty, they can turn around and say, you know what, we're the only companies putting out AAA titles. We're gonna put them at $200 a pop.
What's the difference, Vlad?
What's the difference is, wait a second, look,
the price of consoles, the price of games, the pay as you go for content model that they've been doing over the last 4 to 6 years, ever since it's
right.
To me, it's up to us to move away. We're going to pay no matter what it is.
Well, I think the software as a service. I mean, like Game Pass Ultimate right now is the gold standard above anything, because I think you're getting amazing content. You're not getting everything, but you're definitely getting your bang for your buck for a lot of games. Like, look, I don't want to spend money on Gears of War. That's just an example. I can now, if I want to play Gears of War, I can. Halo, I didn't need to spend money on because I have Game Pass.
So it's a win.
And it's like you save money on a lot of these titles, and you're paying for them as almost like a subscription. I mean, think about it. It's the same idea of what happened with iTunes and Spotify and all this.
Netflix, everything.
Well, I'm talking. Netflix. You're not getting
the studio.
You're not getting like a movie.
Well,
day and date of release that it comes out. Yeah, I'm talking about something like that. You're getting whatever Netflix has.
I just think well, I'll play devil's advocate. The one thing that Sony's had over Microsoft the past few years is that they've had studios releasing games for them.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I think this is a way for Microsoft to kind of get studios to create content for them. And, the thing that was interesting was like they were talking about how like resurrecting the old IPs that Activision just kind of pushed off to the side over the years.
Absolutely.
And what will it mean down the road? I don't know. We don't know if they're going to make like a lot of these things just Xbox exclusives. They're not really saying.
Not just Xbox.
I just think that the one thing that's really interesting for me is what are they going to do about the culture change at Activision Blizzard with.
I think that's a big.
That's what I'm interested in. I think they'll clean it up, to be honest with you.
They'll definitely clean it up. I mean, right now they're not saying anything, they're because they can't really say anything until they take full control. But I think that will probably be the most important step that Microsoft will have to take first.
They should fire anybody who posts on a subreddit or a 4chan.
Well, I think they have big.
Just anybody right off the bat.
Right off the bat, they have to think about Diablo 4 is a big one for them, right? That's going to be coming out.
Does this mean that World of Warcraft comes over to Xbox?
IPs that have been apparently Activision has kind of pushed to the side, such as like StarCraft 3. Stuff like this where they, because, the culture there was just make all the money you can. And you kind of started seeing it permeate into Blizzard, because Blizzard's track record was excellent. I mean, I'm talking the games they were putting out were great. I mean, even you can argue, yay or nay about how Destiny fared under Activision. Okay,
Who's better? Who's better? Don't
They
even
had
get
money
me
to-
started.
They had money to push out content.
Not only that, Bungie just sucks. They're liars, cheats, trying to steal everybody's money.
You know,
They can't
rumor
put out
has it, you never
consistent
know if
system.
Microsoft could buy up Bungie again.
They should buy up Bungie and then fire everybody. Put them in the street because they're working so hard from home during COVID.
This is a continuation of your Destiny 2 conversation from last
No,
week.
it's just
Rant of the portion of the podcast.
They're the most two-faced company that cares about their community. Oh, we care about our employees. We're producing content. We're at home. It's so hard for us to produce content. You're at home. What's the difference between being home? You're on a computer all day in the office. You're on a computer all day at
This is
home.
the old man yelling at clouds portion of the podcast.
They're just assholes. Every other company, almost every other industry is impacted by COVID. You know what industry is
This
not
has to do with
impacted by
Microsoft
COVID?
buying
Bungie.
Activision.
All right, wait.
The only thing Bungie can't do is the staff can't go out for lattes when they should be developing Crucible.
Lattes or lattes?
Lattes. Sorry.
Okay.
Hey, I'm not the smart one here, but I do know that Bungie sucks. And Bungie, if you ever watch this or you ever hear from me, the only thing I will ever tell you is
right.
COVID was the best thing that happened to you because now you're making money sitting on your ass at home.
This will be transcribed on the
worse
Destiny
content, less
forums.
content than ever, and blaming it on COVID. You should
Don't
be
worry
working
about it. He's
24
going
hours
to
a
post
day.
this after this podcast is over on the forums.
Here,
Right before he jumps up to Crucible.
Thing, and here's the current conversation.
I mean, you bring them up, but they're the most two-faced, pathetic, lying company. We really care about the community.
Did you buy Witch Queen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I don't want to buy it. Like I said, I can sit there and play free Crucible all day and be happy.
Leopolis XD here.
No, Vlad, this is their thing.
Activision Blizzard. Microsoft Activision Blizzard.
I don't play any of those games.
You don't play any games.
I don't care about
Well, fix that for
I don't
you.
care about Yamaha. I don't care about it.
Look. Bottom line. Let's procrastinate. I mean,
Let's bring it home.
Prognosticate here. Okay, that's the word I was looking for.
No,
We're procrastinating enough as it is. But okay. Will there be exclusives? Let's
Yeah.
call it right now. I'm throwing it out there. Skyrim 6. Is Skyrim 6 going to be an Xbox exclusive?
Probably.
Okay.
Yes.
Diablo 4.
Maybe a limited time and it'll be on Game Pass.
Diablo 4 is Diablo.
Yeah, I
4.
can't wait to play that.
Yeah, I'm sure you have no idea what you've. Yeah, okay. Dungeon Siege. Wait for Dungeon Siege 4.
Which is coming out by Activision and
Diablo 4.
Blizzard.
What do you think is going to happen with Call of Duty? Is Call of Duty going to be one of those things that's going to start like they're going to have like preference to Xbox?
No, I don't think they can.
But
Why?
they could do
Why?
what?
They
Wait,
need
wait
to
a
do
second.
that.
Do you remember what they
They
did?
need
Do
to
you
do
remember what
that.
Destiny?
But they
did
need
with-
players to play it.
Right, that's true. But remember what they did with Destiny initially, when certain strikes and certain things were only exclusive and weapons. Monte Carlo. What was it?
But
Monte
they,
Carlo.
But
they
was
did
it
that with Call of Duty. Call of Duty's always had exclusivity at one of the consoles.
Exclusivity. I just don't think it's going. I think it'll probably be like first on Xbox, and then
I saw
anything.
something that I agree. I tend to agree that it's not really about the console anymore. It's about the content. It's really about the service. And right now, if you look at PlayStation Plus versus Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is lapping it in a big way.
I mean, because you're talking about getting these games, day of, like
Right.
you said, I got to play Outriders on it, which I wasn't like that interested in. Halo, and I think that this will allow Microsoft to add a bunch of games to the service now.
It's going to be big for them when they first
Yeah.
come out because on Game Pass. You're going to see all the Activision Blizzard stuff come out like they did for EA.
Yeah,
And the
correct.
older
So it's going to be
games,
huge. But I think down the line we got to see.
I also do think it's going to open up doors because I think Microsoft, I know Activision moved away from RTSs. They didn't want to deal with RTSs as much. And I think, Microsoft just put in all this money to Age of Empires 4. That's where I'll start seeing that. Maybe not next year, but in 2 years from now, we're going to start seeing people say, let's start bringing back StarCraft 3. You know, let's do all these other things. You know, yes, you will have the first person shooters, you'll have the Overwatches, you'll have all these things, and I think it's good. I also think you can't just look at the Xbox versus PS5. You have to look at the PC. What they're going to be able to do on the PC right now.
It's just allows them to have like two huge studios, and it's like everyone's like focusing on Call of Duty, but it's a lot of the other older IPs that once Activision Blizzard started embracing the games as service model, any game that they said, well, we can't pump out, every 6 month content they just kind of push to the side. And Microsoft is kind of interested in those IPs as much as the Call of Duties, the Overwatches,
But something Vlad said was interesting to me. Why do you think there's going to be price creep?
I don't think there will be.
There already has been price creep.
But that's only PlayStation 5. Microsoft hasn't embraced that.
Well, let's wait, guys. Think about this for a second.
For
certain individuals on this podcast who have probably spent about $100 already on a deluxe edition of a DLC coming out. Think about how much we're spending just on DLC alone.
But the thing is, because you paid for the actual expansion, which is $50,
right. And
$60, and then $30.
You're constantly paying. Look, we'll see where it goes.
That's because Bungie has to embrace that model because of
Bungie is scum, so they released a DLC that's 6 hours of content, 6 hours of content, and then they sell you a replayable season of Horde mode bullshit that they took a long time to develop because it's hard to develop at home sitting on your ass.
This is our Destiny conversation part 7.
I mean, what a company. Think about this. We're really serious about COVID and our employees. We're going to let them all work from home. It's very different culturally because we were going to lunch at least 4 to 5 times a day and going across the street to Starbucks across from our offices, and they can't do that. So instead of producing the game, we cry for 59 minutes at every hour instead of doing any development work. And so we're going to resell you previous legendary content and all the old weapons and gear you had again because we don't need to do anything.
Hey, it's a lot of work to come up with a character like Keitel and find the voice acting for it.
That is true.
Oh, Guardian.
That is true. COVID is very hard. And since we can't see our friends in the office, we go drink lattes at least 8 to 10 times a day. And
don't forget the taco trucks.
Then the taco truck. See, you know it. That's exactly what they were doing. So now they're all home. They could be working fucking 8 hours a day, making millions of dollars off of just pumping out cool new stuff. Instead, they contemplate their navel. Oh, this is hard. Life is difficult. It's so hard for me to sit at home with my 3 32-inch monitors and get the hell out of here.
I'm gonna have to play you off. I think we've reached the limits of where we're gonna go. So with that, I'm gonna have to start. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to.
We love our community. We're
gonna wrap it up and looking forward to episode 3.
Yeah.
This is episode 7, guys, because that rant went on forever.
I didn't say anything.
That was a great comment.
You guys know me very well. I don't bother anybody. I just want to play the game.
This is
what game do you want to play?
This is the Oscars. We're calling you off. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
See you next week.
See you next week.